We are back with some healthy aging and some tips on how to get through the holidays with all the food and temptations that come in front of you and still enjoy yourself and go out and have fun. You know, part of it is just don't deny yourself. Don't not go to the party because you think there's going to be too much of a temptation. Again, go full and enjoy your company. You know, I am not a drinker, but if you keep that glass full of something, people will not bother you. They'll always just look at your glass that's full. So you won't get that temptation to constantly drink more soda or drink more juice or drink more whatever the thing is. So watch some of those things. So as we move into the last segment, James, I'm missing you, James, today. Just want to say a shout out to our buddy James and the Q family. As we go through the last part of the segment, this is something that I've been studying in school. So I have been studying, as I said before, cardiovascular physiology. Sunday is my final. All of my Q family prayer warriors, if you want to pray that I have supernatural recollection, because what? Oh my goodness, this stuff is just incredible. But one of the things that I have been studying is actually the effect of what happens to our bodies, especially when you're obese. Now, this is not to convict anyone out there, but this is information that was actually mind-shattering to me because I have never heard obesity in this respect. And I think if people understood it, what I'm about to say, in a way that was clear, and this is why I do this show, and this is why I own this store, because I want people to know the truth about what's going on in their body, especially as we age. This is why you do not want the extra 5 pounds. You know, part of where we get lured in is that the advertisers already have us say, oh, we're going to gain 8 pounds during Christmas break. Well, you know what? That's in my head. So I already think, all right, I'll gain the 8 pounds and I'll do a good job and I'll probably gain 10. But then I'll think, well, everybody else gained 8, so what's the extra 2? Well, let me tell you this, and I always have resources. So in the world of science, everything we do is cited to scientific studies. I try to mention them on the show, but if I don't, call me or email me. I'll gladly tell you where I have my resources, where I have my references. Today, looking at YouTube's from Dr. Mike and the Mayo Clinic. Other research reports are out there, but those are some places you would go, and obviously my textbooks and all the things I've learned at school come into play, but you guys can't have access to that. So I try and find other references that are similar that you can have access to. Right. And right, what we want to try and do is keep you away from there. Yeah. So here's the truth about how your body works. Your body has 60,000 miles of vessels, right? So blood vessels, 60,000 miles of blood vessels, the average adult. That wraps around the entire world twice and a little more than twice. Think about that. Look at your bodies and think about the fact that you have blood vessels in there that are long enough to wrap around the world twice. For every pound that you gain, you add 5 miles of blood vessels. You gain 1 pound, you're adding 5 miles of blood vessels. Well, what does that mean? So Q family, if you're out there, make 2 fists, put them in front of your body together close, and then maybe separate them out about 2 inches or so, or 4 inches. And you say to yourself, okay, picture a vessel, a blood vessel going from one side to another. The heart pumps blood. The heart has no problem pumping the blood from that vessel, right? It's 3 inches long, 5 inches, whatever it is. And the heart goes with a certain amount of pressure to move that blood through the vessel to the other end, to your organs and all the places that it has to go. Well, I gain a pound. I just added 5 miles for that heart to have to pump that blood. Right. Now you are 100 pounds overweight. Right. Miles. It should be, oh, miles and miles. Oh, miles and miles of blood vessels. And this is why obesity is an issue. Because your heart is pumping harder to get the blood from one side to all these extra miles and miles and miles because of the weight that we've gained at the same pressure. So in your case, you were young when you had the weight. I was young when I had the weight on my body. You keep that weight on your body year after year after year after year, and the heart is pumping and pumping and pumping and pumping and harder and harder. Well, the more weight I'm gaining and the heavier I'm becoming, and now I'm trying to walk and do other things. So as soon as I go to move the body, the heart needs to pump harder. And the heart needs to pump harder because I have extended vessels now that it has to get through to fuel my body. So what happens in our bodies actually is that there's a hierarchy in our body. God created this amazing body, and our brain, our lungs, our liver, our kidneys, they're the first to get the blood. And they get about 20% or so. I could be off on the percentage, but they get predominantly all of the blood. Obviously, our hearts and our brain need that blood to keep going. The blood gives you oxygen and nutrients to get through your body. This is how we stay alive. So if our kidney, for example, isn't getting enough blood because the heart can't pump and keep that same pressure through the vessel because I just gained a pound, what will happen is the kidneys automatically trigger a hormone. Those hormones are called renin. And when that hormone triggers, the renin still stimulates another hormone called angiotensin 2. And that tells the blood vessels in your skin, which the skin is only allotted 5% of the blood vessels. So now when the kidneys are like, hey, I'm not getting enough blood, it triggers this hormone, and this angiotensin 2 tells the skin blood vessels to constrict. When the skin blood vessels constrict, that blood then backs up the system, so the skin's not going to get the blood that the skin needs, and it has to forego its opportunity for blood to fuel the kidneys, because the kidney is the more important part of the body. So picture that constriction of blood to the skin now to fuel other parts of your body that aren't getting the blood. So this is why lifestyle changes are so important. Can you imagine you lose 5 pounds? So now your vessels are getting reshaped. The heart is pumping less with just a 5-pound weight loss. Weight loss, again, should be a lifestyle change. This isn't if you add the food, it's a death sentence. If you take it away, you're going to have a fuller life. You're going to be able to walk better and fuel better, and everything just feels better when you don't have that additional weight. And please, Q family, I love you. Understand that that's why I'm saying this, is because I love you. I want you to live the best life. Nobody ever told me. If somebody would have told me when I was fat that I just added, every pound I gained, I added 5 miles more of blood vessels. And if somebody would have told me that my heart can't do it, that in 20, 30, 40 years, my heart just can't do it. Nobody ever told me it that way. All I ever heard was, you're fat and it's not good for you. But nobody really ever broke it down and said, you know what, this is one of the reasons why it's not good for you. There's other reasons why having weight on your body isn't good for you, and we could talk about that in later shows. But when I was studying this for school, actually the final exam is 60 questions, At least I know I'm going to get one question right. so so I studied this one out because, boy, I never understood it this way. So I was really diving into what actually happens to us. So then we look at it, if you look at the further out, I always looked, I read this once a long time ago, and it said, if you look at how much weight, if you lose a pound a year, and now we know that's 5 miles of vessels a year, if you lose a pound a year in 10 years, you've lost 10 pounds. Now, everybody could lose a pound a year, but we don't. We look at it the other way, and we end up gaining a pound. Well, if you gain a pound, you're going to gain 10 pounds in 10 years. It's just about a pound, 1 pound. If that's how I look at it, I start the year at X weight, I end the year 1 pound less, I have done great things for my body. Most of us look like you had 100 pounds to lose, and that's daunting. If I have to look at it as 100 pounds I need to lose, it's daunting. But if I look at it as any weight that comes off this body is helping me stay healthier, stay off medications. I met a woman, I give talks all throughout the villages, and I met a woman at one of my talks, and it was a diabetes group talk, and she said, you know what, everything that you've said, I've done, and she is off all the meds by just changing her lifestyle. And she looked at the woman next to her and said, I did everything she said. I've gotten off all the bad foods. I turned it around, and I'm not on any medication. And the woman next to her looks at her and goes, I don't want to do that. So that's right. And some people make that choice where they would rather, or it's easier to do things. I'm not saying we've both been through this. This is not, easy. That's right. Not a piece of cake, and it should, but it could be something different and something better. I don't, I would love to, because part of me now, when I am going through school, although I love the senior community and really want to help them, I look at myself when I was a teenager and 20, and I think, why didn't anybody tell me this? Nobody really talked about weight and nutrition and what that means. No, I've never written a book, but I saw that you wrote 20 of them, so that's pretty exciting. That's a great idea. But when we look at this again, as we go through our holiday season, be sure to remember that if you just take 2 pounds off your body next year, you will reduce the amount of cardiac output, the amount that the heart is actually going to have to pump in 1 minute. You'll reduce your vessels by 10 miles. Think about what 10 miles looks like. 10 miles of vessels, which is pretty funny. And Q family, you know that this is not to convict you. I don't convict. We've both been there, and we know what this journey is like. We want you to enjoy the holidays, go out and have a good time, be with family, be with friends, have fun. But if you make wiser choices as you go through, when you get to January, you're not going to look at this as, oh gosh, the best thing you could do for your body is not put on the average 8 pounds. I mean, that's the best thing you could do. And this is coming from somebody who just gained 3 pounds for Thanksgiving. Yes. Yeah. And maintaining or, a pound one way or the other would be awesome. And just look at it differently. Use some of these tips that we talked about. And you could go to the website, my website, and send me an email if you don't remember, or go to the YouTube channel, which is called Ageless Ways, Longer Days. and you could get this information. And please like and subscribe so we could get the information out to more people. As you like and subscribe and share those YouTube videos, you'll be able to get them out to more people. And stop by the store. Come down to Lake Nutrition 94. So thank you so much, Q family. This has been another edition of Healthy Aging. Jim, we miss you. Thank you.